Well, welcome everyone. I'm Rob Amberzetti with KGG Consulting.
And Ken Grubbs with KGG Consulting.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so happy to be a part of this lineup, and we want to have a shout out to Johnstone Bloomington Group. We really appreciate being a part of this. Thank you. I hope you find this worthy of your time. Really, just so you know who we are basically indoor air quality geeks, right, Ken?
So let's introduce ourselves. I mean, who the heck are we and why should we be part of this story? And again, God, I hope everybody's having a good time with this conference. Seems like it's going really well so far. Let's talk for just a second about who we are. So I've been in the industry longer than I care to remember, and been on the rep side of the business for an unbelievably long time. And eventually it made sense. I realized that there was no national rep organization, if you will. So what we ended up creating was an umbrella of the tier one rep organizations across the country in a cohesive way. Instead of just thinking about just one particular geography, we took on the whole country. We found the best reps in the market, and then along comes indoor air quality. And that's kind of the fun part of the story. We took on indoor air quality years ago, long before it became a thing like it is today. I mean, we look like geniuses, right, Rob? We look like we saw it all coming.
We had a great crystal ball, didn't we?
We had an incredible crystal ball. So we're really the first nationwide rep organization, and we've added so much to that, and we'll get into that later, from training to marketing to all kinds of things. But when you apply that kind of a platform to something as dynamic as a pandemic, then you realize that this is kind of a once in a lifetime, the stars aligning. So we have over 70 reps across the country, people you already know who these folks are. They're your independent local reps for a lot of other products. But we have all these people. They're all IAQA trained. They're all certified in indoor air quality. They're already people that are the boots on the ground for your local markets. They know what they're talking about. They drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago, and they're there and available to you, to your contractors, to do web training, live training. What I love about it is just having those local boots on the ground that you folks probably already know, that are there to help you with all your indoor air quality questions. And then the key point to that is that, maybe you are already an indoor air quality expert. Chances are you might not be. You've got so many things to think about. You've got so many products to worry about that I'm not sure indoor air quality ever made it to the top of the list. So if that's the case and you're thinking, oh my God, I've got to learn all this stuff, that's not true. You have access to a lot of people and a lot of training and a lot of videos and a lot of marketing that's already completely geared for exactly that situation, where hopefully, like I say, hopefully you are the expert. And if you're not, hopefully you'll become an expert over time. But in the meantime, there's no reason to shy away from indoor air quality, because we've got that covered for you with these certified trained guys. It's an amazing group of people.
And a lot of what we're going to talk about, we like to call on our end the toolkit for contractors, really. So we put together all the resources. So if you're a little bit, hesitant and just trying to, or even thinking about it, we'll put all these things. We're going to talk about this in one place, but we made it as super, super straightforward and simple as we possibly could.
And that's the question becomes, a great way to look at it.
Why in the first place would you, why in the first place would you even be thinking about selling IAQ? Well, despite the pandemic, even before this pandemic, Ken, what were some of the typical things anyway we were talking about prior to this year?
Well, that's why it was already a good idea to get into indoor air quality, because everyone's concerned about living a healthier lifestyle, right? Everyone's constantly spending a lot of money on exercise, on yoga, on bottled water, for God's sakes. We're already eating healthier, plant-based diets. So there's already that sort of setting the stage for a healthier lifestyle, right?
That certainly is. And honestly, since the pandemic, I think the term even airborne pathogens and what's in the air has certainly drawn, and you guys are probably already getting these calls. I sure hope you are. But what airborne pathogens and explaining those. And honestly, again, let's take a step back in time prior to the pandemic. What was everybody doing, Ken, that everybody had the same, if
you're a contractor, I always think of it as a personality. I always think that every contractor company has sort of a personality. You're a new construction guy, or you're an add-on replacement guy, or maybe your focus is, some aspect of, you like the high efficiency stuff or something, but isn't that exactly like everybody else in your market? Aren't you all sort of just changing the same business? Your homeowners are going to get a quote on a variable speed furnace with a 16-seer condenser, and they're going to shop around and get 3 quotes, and they're going to probably give it to the lowest bidder. So you guys are in a race to the bottom, right, Rob? I mean, you were a contractor. Doesn't it end up being a race to the bottom?
Race to the bottom, and doesn't everybody talk about the same thing? And we're
They
going to
talk
talk
about
about
the
this
same
in
stuff.
detail, right? So if you want to have a brand differentiation within your own brand, whatever your brand might be, and you probably would like to separate yourselves. And what a better way to do it than offering indoor air quality? When you go to bed at
Absolutely.
night, guess what? Customer satisfaction falls into play here. You can go to bed at night thinking that you're actually and knowingly helping somebody live healthier, breathe healthier. And guess what? It's going to turn into repeat business, better reviews, more referrals. And Lord knows that that makes more of a difference online today in our virtual, our 5-star rating system, as it is online.
And so it's not just about, for those of us who have been doing this a really long time, it was always about comfort, right? I'm too hot, I'm too cold. So what we do in our business is about helping people with comfort. And then of course along came energy in the 80s, and it still is today. A very important aspect of an HVAC system is to be concerned about energy. But that's it. There we are. We have
Again,
comfort, we have energy. That's all there is to talk about
yep.
until
So there's
now.
more to offer other than just equipment, features and benefits, efficiency, right? That's the same
Yep.
language we've been using as a trade
Yep.
for years. So now you can start and lead the conversation with health. We're going to get into that here in a few minutes, but along with that comes, think about this. I mean, how have your profit margins been lately, right? If you truly understand margins, you probably hopefully understand that by the more accessories you can add on to that ticket, the better off you're going to be at the end of the day, right?
That's exactly right. That's because if it's just the same old 16-seer condenser and variable speed furnace, then everybody's quoting basically the same stuff, and all you can do is start to shave price. And now that revenue per call or revenue per job and margin per job has just gone in the tank because you're all chasing the same stuff. That's where indoor air quality comes in. It's that accessory that people aren't shopping you quite as much for, where the revenue is going to be stronger, obviously, more revenue, but you're also going to make better margins on these products. And that's part of what we teach.
So I want to go back to something you said earlier about, people paying more for living healthier lifestyles.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Homes, so again, why does indoor air quality matter? Let's answer that question, right?
Yep.
I'm going to give credit here to Bill Hayward of the haywardscore.com. If you guys haven't checked Bill Hayward out at all, check him out. Haywardscore.com is an evaluation of your own home. It's a questionnaire. You can go through the questionnaire and evaluate your house and how it is from a healthy standpoint, looking at all the different, as an entire space, how it relates to indoor air quality. Well, I got to give him credit because he basically came away with this little saying that always sticks with me. What do we need to survive? We need 3 meals a day, right? Well,
Yep.
maybe you could skip one. You might be able to
Yep.
skip one and be okay.
Maybe.
Uh, Theoretically, we should be drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Well, maybe I can skip 1 or 2 of those,
Yep.
right? The one thing you can't skip is any one of those 23,000 breaths that we have to
Isn't that
breathe every
true?
day. I
Isn't
mean, I
that a
don't plan
great?
on stopping anytime soon.
I
So
love
every one
that.
of those 23,000 breaths counts, right?
Yep.
Um, our homes, and again, I'll give credit to Bill Hayward here. They're a container of harm. Think about what's happened to our structures over the past several decades. They've gotten more insulated. It's like you almost take your home and shrink wrap it, right, in plastic.
Yep.
And when you don't allow for that fresh air exchange and you just live in this dwelling, and when you can't open the windows and doors, bad things happen. So it
And
becomes
so
this
that was part of
container of
the
harm.
energy crunch, right? That's why
Yes.
we ended up
Yep.
sealing our homes,
Yep.
correct?
So just by living in a space, and maybe you have pets, but cooking, cleaning, personal care, all these products, crawl spaces inherently have issues. They're more insulated and tighter than ever, but we live and we spend over 90% of our lives inside. So, homes
Indoors.
actually impact our health. Another reason why indoor air quality, again, even despite the pandemic, that the market was set to grow. In fact, including in what's happened this year, I think this statistic from Technavio that I found online is saying that the global indoor air quality solutions market is going to grow by 9.54 billion with a B in the next 4 years. And that
Let's just
actually
call that 10 billion. Let's just call
$10
it
billion.
10
There
billion
you go.
dollars.
10 round. We like
$10
to round
billion
up.
dollars in the
$10
next 4
billion
years.
in the next 4 years.
Come on.
I mean, it's incredible. And you know what? So here's the other part of this story is you probably noticed in some of those big box stores that they're selling, IAQ
Oh,
devices, but they're room only solutions.
yep.
Okay. I think the
Yep.
advantage, you're going to have several advantages over, and if you position yourself properly over these big box stores. First of all, you're going to have the knowledge, and that's what we're going to talk about here. Arm yourself with the knowledge. I don't think you're going to find on any of those aisles a person that you could flag down and have questions about, what am I breathing? What should I be doing to help address what I'm breathing? Okay. And here, inherently, those are room only solutions. We would like to encourage you. You have the tools and ability to offer whole home solutions. Okay. You have a huge advantage. That money and those devices, if they're worth anything, any of their weight in gold, especially if you talk about HEPA air filters, room only HEPA air filters, they're not cheap. They're anywhere from, $700 to $1,000 for one
Yep.
room, right?
Yep. For one room.
That money would be better spent for the whole home solution, which you guys, all of you, can actually offer whole home solutions, and it's a better bang for your buck.
Hugely better bang for your buck.
So again, I want to take a step back in time here and just put a little context to this. There was a study done, American home comfort study done in 2016. I say so a number of years ago, and
Yeah.
this was a survey done on folks that just had their heating and air conditioning equipment replaced. And what they found was that $381 was the average amount that somebody was willing to spend just to improve their indoor air quality in their home by 25%, just by 25%. 65% of those folks said it was important to them to find a whole home solution. So the majority wanted
Wow.
a whole home solution, right?
Yep.
And then what they found too is they already had some sort of portable device already, and the average home had like almost two
Wow.
devices per home, and they're spending money, and these things are not cheap. So
No, they're
already
not.
the market, even back in 2016, was ripe. All right.
Yeah, that was 4 years ago.
4 years ago, right? And think about the next 4 years. That's why we're here today. So who are these folks that are primarily most concerned about what they're breathing? Now, this is a traditional group or traditional population that even hasn't changed since what we've been going through over the past 9 months. There's roughly
Correct.
50 million people affected with allergic disorders. That's actually the sixth leading cause of chronic illnesses in the US. All right.
Wow.
It's a massive population that's there, regardless of any pandemic. There's
Wow.
another 11 million people that suffer from asthma that are actually provoked by airborne pathogens. Again, that's another 11 million people. I want to talk about mold for a second because this is an incredible statistic. There's about 130 million people in this country that have a sensitivity to mold. And there's a staggering number of new homes built each year that have a mold problem. You talk about construction practices
Mm-hmm.
and building with materials that might have got damp or wet. Okay. So they're actually, you think about that from a population standpoint, that's a huge number. There's 80 million people that can't actually, they have a genetic predisposition where they can't process, their body can't process the mold. 80 million
Wow.
people. Okay.
Wow.
And then here's a big kicker too. There's 50 million people that have autoimmune disorders. So their
Right.
bodies can't fight off, pandemic type situations. Even, and again, this was even pre-pandemic.
Right.
This population exists within our country. There's about 50 million people that have autoimmune disorders. So Ken,
Wow.
the numbers are staggering. They're there.
Again, which is why indoor air quality was an important conversation long before COVID came around. And then, of course, now bang, here comes COVID.
So I think this has changed our industry forever. I'm sure that's part of the reason why you're here. You understand that we've entered this new public health era, in our lives. And I think things have changed permanently. Now, I think the more you arm yourself with knowledge, the better off you're going to be. And Ken, what do we always like saying on our end about where
Well,
we
it's,
live?
hopefully there's going to be a lot of things you take away from this talk and all these other talks, but I'm going to highlight this one because it's just so easy to remember and it's so important. Of all the places you go in your life during the day, of all the buildings you're in, there is only one place that you can control the air that you breathe. Only one place out of everywhere you go, the place where your children go, one place you can control that air, and that's in your home. And that's it. That's the only place you have access to controlling the air you breathe. So you better do. And by the way, it's the place you spend most of your time, especially now. So you absolutely have to think about doing a better job of taking care of that air.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Traditionally, why haven't guys gotten into, I mean, there's numerous challenges you all have with your businesses, right? Ken, you want to kind of talk a little bit about, what we.
Sure. Well, it's been such a weird year. If you're a contractor, oh my gosh. So clearly, a pandemic, but what does that mean? And what else has been happening this year? You know that a lot of homeowners don't want any people in their house. My wife, the same exact story. We were supposed to have some service work done and we canceled most of it. We just don't want that person in our house. So you're faced with a challenge of maybe a reduced market in a way, because some homeowners are just not comfortable with strangers more or less coming in their house. So that's a challenge that you're going to face. We all know there's been a huge equipment shortage this year. Every brand, every aftermarket third-party coil manufacturer as well. The whole thing has been very troublesome for you guys to get equipment, and that's still going on. Nobody's caught up from that. We already talked about, the fact that you're chasing the same business, so your margins are being eroded away every day, and you're looking for some way to stand out in a crowd of HVAC contractors. So the table is being set. Now, don't forget, part of that story is that there's a huge lack of knowledge. Think about it a second. You've got a market that's screaming for answers, screaming for solutions, spending tens of millions of dollars on standalone room air quality air purifiers that really don't do any good, or at least don't do any good for the rest of the house. So there's this lack of knowledge. Starts at the homeowner, it moves to the contractor, it goes right through the system. That very few of us have all of the knowledge on indoor air quality that we should have. So that's why we want to be that resource. And you want to be that resource. It's fun for us to sit here and say, hey, we have all the answers to this, and that's great, but you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to sit across that kitchen table with your customers, with your homeowners, and you need to be that expert. And we call that kind of a personality change, right, Rob? We say, look, you've got your company has a personality. You're an add-on replacement guy, or you're a high efficiency guy, or you're a new construction guy. Well, you need to be an IAQ guy. That's what you need to be these days.
And we challenge you to rethink that personality. No offense given here or trying to,
for sure.
But basically, we would like to teach you how to fish. And I'm going to come back to that pun here in a little bit, right, Ken?
Yes, please.
So why don't you tell, please share with the folks here what the KGG team.
Okay, so once you get to the point where you think, okay, I need to get into this. My customers are asking about it. I like the idea of differentiating myself. I like the idea of more revenue and better margins. All right, so what do I do next? Well, the short answer to that question is you need to partner with the right people. Because if you partner with the right people, then they're going to help take care of all the other problems. But let's go down the list, okay? As a contractor, let's start with the right product. You need to find the right products. You're not going to go to market. If this is new to you, there's a lot of stuff out there. You got to pick and choose, okay? So you need to start with somebody who you can depend on. Hopefully someone you're already doing business with. Hopefully somebody that has a complete lineup of products. And of course, I'm teeing it up, right?
Yeah.
Because Clean Comfort
is
the only brand name that has every single product in the IAQ food stream that you would want, right, Rob? I mean,
all the solutions you can imagine to all the different, any kind of strategy that you want to implement. The solution is there under the Clean Comfort umbrella. And I strongly suggest or encourage everyone to check out Greg Jutris's presentation on the Clean Comfort product line. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because he'll go through the whole thing. All right. So now there you can check that box. Now you've got the right products. You've got a comprehensive list of all the different kinds of products, because remember, there is no, one size fits all solution. That's the problem with that standalone in-home one-room solution. It's not addressing everything, but you're going to learn how to address everything because of this lineup of products. All right, so from there, let's move to, all right, you got the right product. Now I need some local help. Who's going to help me locally in my market? All right, we've got the answer to that as well. The KGG team, along with the Goodman folks, we have Clean Comfort local representatives right there in your market. They're willing to come teach all your people, virtually, go on joint sales calls.
We'll work side by side with the territory sales managers at the Johnstone Group.
Absolutely right.
So who you're comfortable with, what you're already comfortable with.
You can come up with a strategy with their help, as to how to go to business with IAQ in your market. And it's dramatic, all the help that's available. Greg Jutras, of course, the National Parks Manager, is available. Obviously, we've got Rob Ambersetti on this call. He's part of the KGG team. His background is he was a contractor. He was an educator. He's been doing this for 4 years now with me. We've got the lineup of people to help you with boots on the ground. Now, what else, Rob? I'm going to let you talk
So we're
about
going to talk about
learning
training in depth
management.
here in a minute. So I just want to say we came up with an IAQ online learning management system. I'm going to go tell you where that is in here in a second. One of the classes, there's 3 distinct classes we'll talk about. One of them actually has an hour's worth of NATE continuing education.
Yep.
We're going to talk about unique sales tools like video brochures. We also can offer marketing guidance. So if you're not quite sure how to get your digital footprint squared away, or you might have a website, but you always wanted to do something differently, we have some additional resources there. We actually started because of the success stories we were getting back in the feedback I was getting back from these exciting reps, because they had just worked with a territory sales manager visiting you guys and doing just a 1-hour training in the morning. They were calling me saying, hey, you won't believe this, but we just, we educated this group of contractors today, and this is what happened. I
Yep.
wanted to capture that excitement and how that resource, when it's brought to you in your place of business or virtually, doesn't matter. But once you get chatting and understanding what it is about indoor air quality that we can help you with, you're going to get excited too. And that's why we created the Rep Talk podcast, because we wanted a means or a medium to share those stories. So Rep Talk.
Those stories are so much fun. It's like blood in the water. Once you get the taste of blood, because you hear these remarkable success stories, and then you want to go out and make one up on your own. And they happen every day. We hear them every day. We really do.
Absolutely, all the time. So let's get into the nitty gritty of this. I would like to share with you, and if when you get a chance, we'll put a link up here as well. Go to kggconsulting.com, scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, and click on Getting Started in IAQ. It's a link, Getting Started in IAQ. You'll find it at the bottom of the page. Once you click on there, you're going to find this toolkit I'm telling you about. There's 3 tabs at the top. One, the homepage there would be IAQ resources. The next tab is going to be clean air strategies to get you familiar with. Again, there's no one silver bullet to treat every occupant and every different kind of home that's out there. We'll talk about the different strategies. And then infographics, things that, if you're a visual learner, this will put this in a position where you can, stare at the chart if you want for a little while. It'll help you gain a better understanding of what we're talking about in indoor air quality. But on that first page where there's indoor air quality resources, there's a resource guide. First thing is, how do I get local support? Well, first and foremost, you have the Johnstone Bloomington group. Get a hold of your territory sales manager or anybody in one of the branches, and they will get a hold of the appropriate, one of our reps, or myself or Ken. If you didn't want to do that, you could click on the link on this page and we would get you that support regardless. So there's local support. Next is the online training. And this is where I get super excited, because we wrote 3 independent classes. They're all brand neutral, designed to get you and your folks comfortable talking about indoor air quality. And I mean everybody within your organization, even the people that are answering the phones, should probably have a little bit of understanding about indoor air quality, because they can start the conversation there when they get that initial call.
Let's pause. Let me just pause for 1 second there and kind of put an exclamation mark by that, because you said it so well. We all seem to shy away from the subjects that we don't understand. And that's just true for everybody. Your folks that answer your phone, your folks in the warehouse, your folks that do the selling, your folks that go out and install the stuff in the home. They're not going to talk about things that they don't understand for fear of embarrassing themselves. These 3 short classes that are available online, everyone in your organization should just take those 45 minutes times 3 and just get comfortable talking about IAQ. It's going to help you so much to do that.
Yes. So the online training consists of 3 classes. You'll just register, so you get some credentials to log into the website. You're going to see Indoor Air Quality Basics, which is the 1-hour NATE continuing education class. This is where we go over what the contaminants are, identify them, the sources of the contaminants, and just get you comfortable with indoor air quality and kind of define it, right? And then we go into some treatment strategies. The second course, and these are all less than an hour, by the way. The second course, we talk about all the different kind of air purification devices you might find on the market, and pros and cons, okay? And then the last one, which I get the most excited about, is selling indoor air quality. How do I take what I learned in the first 2 classes, and now I have a little bit of understanding of what we're talking about when we say indoor air quality and how to purify the air? How do I actually take that to the next step and get the homeowner interested in a product, and what are some of the strategies that we can implement. And they're not super hard. They're pretty straightforward and easy. We want to share those with you. That's the third class. You do all three, you get a little certificate, basically a certificate of completion on our online learning management system, and you're ready to roll. And then lastly, on the bottom of that page, there's the contractor marketing, HVAC contractor marketing page, where we can offer you different resources in different ways depending on what you're thinking about digitally, right? So if it's marketing online, social media, search optimization, and website design, we can help you there too. So again, 3 classes: marketing, our rep, all on one page in that first tab. When you click over to the Clean Air Strategies tab, there's a short video on there that I put together. It was actually one of the Rep Talk episodes of how to address the different types of scenarios you could run into when you're trying to help somebody breathe cleaner air within their home. Check that video out. Again, these are all tools and resources that are free to you to check out. We want to make you strong. We want to help you make you that local indoor air quality expert. And just with time and hearing what we have to say over and over again, hopefully it'll maybe even through osmosis, right? Yeah, you'll get.
Well, for sure. And it's important to understand, I think we hear the word training, and I think we all get I think the first thing we think of is product training, technical training. And we make a big distinction there. Of course, we have all that. We want to make sure you understand, like, that third class is how to go sell IAQ, how to talk to homeowners about IAQ. It's not just product training that we want to take care of for you. It's selling training. It's how to go do this in the field.
How do I actually do it? Right.
Yep.
So, and lastly, you're going to see a link for the Rep Talk podcast. So whatever format or whatever you use for if you're a podcast type person, whatever platform you're using, you'll be able to find us as Rep Talk. Ken, do you want to talk about the IAQ.works webpage?
Sure, yeah, of course. IAQ.works is just, it looks funny because there's no .com, but you're going to get used to seeing more and more things like that. It's just a page you go to that's a resource. And it's primarily designed for people who really don't have any understanding of indoor air quality. And so I'm referring to homeowners, really. We market this site as just a homeowner reference. It's not very brand specific. It's really dedicated to just trying to answer the most basic indoor air quality questions for homeowners. There's referral information at the end and stuff, but mostly it's just a great place for folks to go. Anyone can go there, but again, particularly homeowners that have the most basic, what does MERV mean? That kind of thing. So you're welcome to go take a look at it, but I always would encourage homeowners to take a look at it, whatever. We market this site so that, we can just be part of the conversation.
So in the browser, in your web browser, you don't have to put www, just simply type in IAQ.works, no .com, and you'll get right to the right spot. Let's talk a little bit about margin boosters. So in the lineup of solutions, you're going to find fresh air solutions. You're going to find filtration solutions, air purification solutions, humidification and dehumidification solutions. Basically, any of these that you can highlight and educate the homeowner about whatever issue they might be having, there's a solution for it, right? And ERVs and HRVs, fresh air is highly underrated.
So underrated, so underrated.
Yet it's the most prevalent solution out there to help all kinds of issues in the home. Because as we said before, when you bottle your home up and it becomes that container of harm, fresh air is the way to go. We know we can't leave our windows and doors open year round. So what do you do when you can't leave your windows and doors open? There's mechanical ventilation, whether it's energy recovery ventilators or heat recovery ventilators, which bring fresh air in and exhaust stale air out. I think there's a stigma associated with these, a negative one that says, these things take forever to install. Honestly, if there's an existing forced air system, you can tie them right into the return air side of the ductwork, and off you go. Literally in a half a day, you could probably have one of these installed. Same thing with filtration solutions. I think most of you have probably heard about MERV 13, right? And MERV 13 options. I think half of the market in the US is a 1-inch air filter still. So that to me screams opportunity. Right? Homeowner doesn't really need to know what MERV is, but they probably heard the conversation somewhere as well. It's a scale from 1 to 16. The higher the number, the more it takes out of the air. And why has ASHRAE and the EPA recommended MERV 13? It's because that's where you start. You have the best shot at taking out those droplet nuclei from sneezes and coughs. Okay. So MERV 13 is where it can happen. I would say, look for those opportunities. And we know, obviously, a lot of the higher you go in the MERV rating, the more static pressure tends to build, or more airflow gets blocked, right? never fear. If you truly still want to help somebody out that's having issues, there's HEPA filtration. What is HEPA? HEPA is like a scary word to a lot of people. What it really is and what it stands for is high efficiency particulate arrestor.
Yeah.
What Ken and I like to, when we're training is just call it hospital grade or medical grade filtration
It's
for your
medical
house.
grade filtration for the home. That's incredible. That's
Okay.
insane.
So here you have HEPA units that are standalone units that can be installed easily on the side of a return air drop. You have it
Yep.
in and out. They're a bypass type system. They come with their own integral fan, and they come with 115 volt. They need to be powered, and there's usually a little plug that comes on the end of it. As long as power is nearby, which theoretically there would be if there's a furnace or air handler there, again, within a matter of a few hours, you could have this up and running and have somebody have that best possible filtration. And I know people that have HEPA filters as a whole home solution, and they love these things.
You know, they're not that expensive. There's only a few models. You could have one of these on a truck easily. Honest to goodness, they're just not that expensive. And you can offer hospital grade filtration to your homeowners. Which of your competitors are doing that? Which of your competitors are out there ready to really improve the health and the well-being of your homeowners? You really need to be that dealer.
And so just again, the opportunities are there. It's just a matter of willing to be taught, wanting to talk about them and starting that conversation.
Absolutely.
When we talk about air purifiers, I think this is where we get into a lot of area where guys don't understand some of the technologies that are out there. And that's why we developed that class to go over the technologies. I would just say, generally speaking, look for whole home solutions, which you have in the dust-free active unit through Goodman here, that you can get through Amana and Daikin. The dust-free active is a whole home air purifier. It's third-party tested and validated. No matter what solution you're looking for, please, 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 you don't want to be the snake oil guy. I know you don't want to be. That's why it's important to have something that's third-party tested and validated.
Well, now that's the one I've got in my house, and I absolutely love it. My wife absolutely loves it. There's no question about it. It's a great product.
And we would like you to have you have your own story to tell. So please talk to us about it. There's we have personal use programs in place, so you can have your own story to
Yes.
tell. Please.
You need one of these in your house just so you can be a believer in it, because you will be.
And then humidification solutions. And I know a lot of you are in the northern climates like I am right now, and humidification during the winter months is a huge, huge deal. Now, again, go back in time here. We always spoke about humidity in terms of comfort. This
Yeah.
narrative is going to change because
Yeah.
humidity is not just important for comfort. It's even more important from a health standpoint. You need to be maintaining 40 to 60% relative humidity in those spaces, not just for comfort, but for health. So if you get below 40% RH, what actually happens? Here's what happens. Two major things happen. A, pathogens last a lot longer in the space, okay? B, your body, its ability to fight those airborne pathogens or pathogens in the space, no matter where they are, your body doesn't have the ability to fight off those germs as well as they do if your body's dried out. So two major things. So again, with turning the heating systems on in the wintertime, you naturally tend to dry that air out. You need to have means to humidify the air and get it up for a healthy standpoint, and a healthy conversation is what we need to have based around now. Most of these devices we're talking about can be installed with relative ease. They don't take a lot of time, and guess what? The returns are going to be amazing. The margins you're going to experience are going to be off the charts. And you're going to be
Off the
happy again, like we
charts.
sader before. You can go to bed at night knowing you helped your customers. And guess what? We know how customers love to talk and rave about something they just did and it's working and you're doing so much better. They talk to their neighbors or family members, and I think
Yeah,
some of you have probably
that's
already
right.
experienced that scenario.
That's
So
exactly right.
how do we talk about it? We don't just want to sell a box. We need to sell a system. So we're going to talk about changing the narrative here from traditionally how we sell systems, HVAC systems. Offer that whole home solution so the homeowner can live better, be more comfortable. People are, like we said before, more willing to spend money on their health, as we mentioned before. And think in terms of sick time and sick days, though, too, right? Even though you might be working from home right now, if you get sick, you're still not going to be wanting to go on that virtual meeting as much as we're going into the office. Sick time adds up, right? You're not going to try to sell something that they don't need, but you're just going to try to make a connection as to how they are going to benefit from the addition of that humidifier or that media air cleaner or that HEPA air filter or that air purifier. If you have the ability to explain something to somebody and educate them on that and make a connection for them, I'm telling you, your world is going to change for the positive, right? You're going to do a lot of good for your customers.
Well, and don't be afraid to talk about the money because, again, that standalone unit, that molecule unit they've got in their living room, that cost them $900. If they want to do all the 4 bedrooms and the office and the living room and the kitchen, what is that going to be? $7,000 to cover all those. So you're actually in the long run going to save them a ton of money and give them a better solution. So don't be afraid to talk about the money. They're going to be willing to spend that money
Yep.
for their family's health. They
And we're going to
really
come
are.
back to that in a second too, about what,
Yep.
when it does come to the money conversation. But again, change the narrative, try leading the conversation differently. For years, we led the conversation with efficiency and comfort. Try it. Just try leading the conversation with health. Ask the
Yep.
healthy questions when
Yep.
you're in the space. Start those conversations. Remember, if you're sick, you're not comfortable, right? So we can still talk about health and comfort. And I think you're going to find that health sells anyway. So the new narrative, new approach is lead with the health conversation. It'll lend into the comfort and eventually energy savings and equipment protection, which were the usual conversation. You're going to differentiate yourself and people are going to remember you, because if they're calling 4 different people to come in that house, and I'll tell you what, you start talking about health first, they're going to remember you.
That's exactly right.
Okay. So 3 simple steps to kind of narrow this down just a little bit. And there's probably more than 3, but um, observe the home when you're in the home. Ask the healthy questions. You see one of those standalone room units. Say, hey, I noticed you had that over the corner. Anything going on in particular? Why you have that? Or how do you like that? Oh, yeah, so-and-so has allergies or so-and-so has asthma. Just listen. Be prepared to listen actively. Identify their concerns, okay? When you're doing your walkthrough. And again, those same questions can happen ahead of time on the phone with whoever's answering the phone for your company. They can start that conversation then. Hey, when Joe comes out, he'll do this, and this for you, no problem. Would you be interested in hearing about how he can improve the air you're breathing in the house? Right? Just simple. Start the conversation there. So again, be ready to listen. Once you ask those questions, you might, this day and age, air samplers are a little more prevalent and a little more affordable. If you need to, you might have to do in the IAQ survey, maybe let's call it, you might have to air sample. And I would strongly encourage you to listen to Jeff Mounts from Air Advice on indoor air quality monitoring. He has another session here in this Johnstone virtual meeting. So please check him out. Actually, his device, you leave it in the home, it samples the air, it'll spit out a report, a clean comfort report with all the solutions on it. First and foremost, familiarize yourself with the treatment strategies. Source control, water issues, they have to be fixed, right? Or damp basements or crawl spaces. Bring that up as a matter, think about source control. Temperature control, that's the world we live in. Sensible heat, turn the thermostat up and down for comfort. Humidity control has a new role, right? From a health standpoint, as we just said, 40 to 60% RH. You want to be within that range, otherwise bad things happen. Air dilution, fresh air. I would say every home could benefit from fresh air and air dilution. Air filtration, look for opportunities to incorporate a media air cleaner. Start looking at MERV 11 and higher, MERV 13. And if you can't fit it in or don't have the space, think about HEPA. It's still a reasonable solution and an affordable solution. And then again, air purification devices. Just get familiar with what you are looking to do, how you'd like to solve the problem. Again, there's no one silver bullet. There's multiple strategies. Let's go. Let's make those connections and have those conversations between indoor air quality and health. So look at all the factors, do the surveys. Everybody's different. Every home is different. Every occupant is different. Establishing trust. You're actually highlighting some things. Ken, I always like to use the analogy, when you go to the doctor's office, what do they usually, no matter what the call, what you're there for, what do they always do? Before
Yep,
you see the doctor, what happens?
they're gonna see how much you weigh. They're gonna check your blood pressure. They're gonna check your temperature. They do that every time, no matter what you're there for, right?
So I would strongly challenge all of you to find and research an air monitoring device. Use it regularly, just like the doctor does when you go and get your blood pressure and temperature taken, no matter why you're the reason you're there. Every call should include an indoor air quality sample. Look at the
it's just a tool. It's just one more tool in your toolbox, in your toolkit that's going to help you sell IAQ.
Yep. If you get one, don't let it sit. Use it and use it to help explain what we're going to do. So how do you translate you get a report back from a monitor that says high particulates or high VOCs. How do you translate into terms that a homeowner can understand? Well, you're going to change the language a little bit, right? So maybe you notice low humidity. You could benefit from a humidifier instead of saying you need a humidifier. By saying you could benefit from lends itself to an explanation, right? Don't just say you need something. You're not trying to pitch somebody. I think all of us know when we're trying to be pitched and probably don't like it. Take a conversational approach, okay? Our humidification system will help keep your nose moist, which keeps your body's natural filter working better. You can make statements like that. Yeah, I noticed hard particulates on the readout here. Air cleaners can remove submicron particles that actually are viruses, bacteria, and pollen that are floating around in the air. HEPA filtration is a hospital grade air filter, so you can translate all this stuff for the homeowners. Remember, just have a conversation. You're not trying to pitch anybody. I'll tell you, Ken, I get really excited talking about videos in the selling process.
Well, especially this one. I love talking about our videos. So we always thought that the most important selling moment is when the technician or the installer or the air conditioning guy is in the living room with the homeowner. That's the moment. That's the moment you're saying, here's what I want to talk to you about. Here's the products I want to talk to you about. Here's the things I think you need. But I think we can all kind of freely admit that most of the time, that same technician, that same installer is not necessarily the best salesman in the world, right? So, Rob,
I
what did we come up with for a solution to help bridge that gap between an installer who doesn't know what to say and a homeowner who's interested but doesn't even know what questions to ask? What did we come up with?
So we will help him say it, right? Or her. Whoever's in the home, we actually created a video brochure. And I'm going to tease this because there's going to be an announcement here with Clean Comfort, working with Greg Jutras from Clean Comfort, about a video brochure. Point here is their videos are available. The shorter the better, less than 2 minutes. We actually created a 90-second video based around the dust-free active. There's going to be other Clean Comfort videos coming out as well. But about the power of using either your tablet or your mobile phone and bookmarking the page where this video is. The most successful contractors we've seen across the country are using videos to help sell. And what happens when you use the video and you have the product, maybe the air purifier on your truck, and you bring it into that kitchen table between the video and showing off the product, you're going to see your close rate skyrocket, literally skyrocket, because you just done the explaining and showing in person, show and tell. It makes a difference. It truly makes a difference. You're going to notice by taking those extra steps, and they're small steps. And I'll tell you what, after you listen to that video a few times on your own, I bet you'll be able to regurgitate it all without having to use the
Well,
video.
I want to make sure that it's very clear. It is a brochure that is a video. It's got a 5x7 LCD screen embedded in it. So the installer hands that to the homeowner. They open it up, and the video begins right there in the brochure. If
Right
you've
there.
never seen one, they're incredibly cool, and they're going to help that installer bridge that gap and start that conversation, even if he doesn't know how to start it himself.
So you're going to spark interest without a doubt. What I would suggest is always quote indoor air quality on every job, on every scenario. Give people some options, right? Good, better, best works. Most people love value. And when you explain what the solution can do for them, they're going to be willing to pay a little bit more once they understand that, right? It should
Every
be
job, just like a thermostat or a condenser pad or a disconnect, it's got to be on every project. Quote IAQ.
Don't be afraid to offer multiple solutions and multiple price ranges. Even consider, maybe creating a healthy home bundle. For the last couple of years, I've seen smart home bundles. I've seen this bundles everywhere I've traveled and seen HVAC contractor commercials on TV. I think you could actually do very well if you came up with a healthy home bundle, air
Absolutely.
purifier, media air cleaner, and an air purification device like the Dust
Yep.
Free Active. Okay.
Yep.
Bundle it up. You're actually going to address all the different scenarios that can happen in the house. People love choice. Work with them, right? Give them some pricing ranges. And best yet, let's say you tally all that up and it comes out to $3,000. Don't let yourself be inhibited by at least talking about price and what Ken said earlier. And Ken, what is our answer, about hesitancy and that big price tag? What is a good solution to that?
Well, it's going to be financing, and I'm sure you must, as a contractor, a successful contractor, already have broached that. How if you haven't, however, you certainly need to do that, and just treat it like any other equipment sale. Most of the time, this stuff is going on in an add-on job anyway. When you've already got a quote going, you're just going to add it to that quote. It's probably going to get financed anyway, but financing is absolutely part of the story.
So be sure to check out EGIA actually in this virtual meeting.
Yep. Yep.
EGIA, I think Matt and Eric have a financing session here that'll help
Program.
you
Yeah.
bundle that indoor air quality. So I think Johnstone's done a great job pulling all these speakers together and tying this all together. So in summary, become that local expert. Let us help you do that. It's easy. Use the KGG Consulting website and the toolkit we're talking about, the few pages that you can take advantage of in the training. Observe the home when you're in the home, and even before you get to the home. Like I said, answering the phone makes a big difference appropriately by asking the questions. Be ready to look around, seeing signs of if somebody might need help. Ask questions. Use that input and the feedback you're getting from those homeowners. Conduct an IAQ survey. Sample the air if needed. Make recommendations that are easy to understand. Offer multiple options and price ranges. Quote IAQ on every job. So, Ken, what's the secret sauce?
Well, I think we've come full circle now. This is there are rare moments in life where there's real opportunity, and we get to stand and make a decision about the future of our company, a contracting business, and where we want to take it. So the secret sauce here is we've lined up everything necessary to get going in this business. We've lined up incredible training. We lined up conversations about how you can go out and promote IAQ. We encourage everyone to talk about IAQ in every conversation. We keep even mentioning the folks who answer the phone. There should be a way for them to talk to everybody that calls and say, what are you doing in your home to help your family with indoor air quality? Make sure you're using a monitor. If you don't have one, get one. They're not that expensive. Make sure you're quoting indoor air quality on every project, just like you would a thermostat or anything else of its kind. Always have it on your truck. You can tell the homeowner, I happen to have one on my truck. I can give you an extra 20% off if we do it today. Whatever your normal deal is.
And literally within the next hour, you can start.
Within the next hour, you can be breathing better. I've got one on my truck. So always have them on the truck. And then use the video brochures. The video brochures are really part of the secret sauce. There's few times in our lives where there's a real important choice in front of us that's going to lead to opportunity. And we've got a market that is screaming for solutions. We've got a laundry list of boxes that we can check to help you get started in IAQ and become successful in IAQ. So you don't very often get those things coming together. The market's screaming. We've got all the answers over here. We thought the fish in a barrel idea was just about as good as it gets. That's what we've created here as a fish in a barrel. All you have to do is just nod your head yes and get a hold of any one of us to get started, and we're here for you.
Excellent. Thanks, Ken. Thank you all for joining us. This is going to conclude our session. At this point, we are able to take questions through the virtual platform here. So you just type your questions in. Ken and I will answer those. And again, appreciate your time. We hope you learned something here this morning, and we're here to help.
Thanks again.
Yep. Have a great day.